really important story, actually, because what we've got is a real problem with what we call the NEETs, which is the not in employment, education or training. And actually, things are being done. I mean, there is now an absolute guarantee that if you're young and you're unemployed, and not in educational training for 18 months, you will be given a placement, because it's really, really important, and it's the young that really matter. Because if you don't get a job when you're young, you're never going to find it, right? You're going to get used to unemployment, and then we're going to say, look at these lazy people on the dole. But actually, it's really, really difficult. And what is that? The social the social mobility advisor says is that in key cities like London, like Bristol, like Manchester, real things are being done. But the real problem is out in particularly the northern towns, where they've been promised levelling up but using different words by different government after government, and actually we have to do something about it.
Well, they're not making it easier, are they, for employers to hire young people?
Absolutely.
They're expensive with
Absolutely.
national wage,
I mean,
living
for goodness
wage,
sake,
national insurance.
This is not joined-up government thinking. On the one hand, Rachel Reeves, as you quite rightly point out, is putting young people out of work. They don't get jobs in pubs anymore because pubs are closing down. They don't get Saturday jobs anymore because employers can't afford them. Because of all the taxes Rachel Reeves is piling on. And all of a sudden they say, oh, what a pity, all these young people haven't got a job. They haven't got a job because you're destroying the economy. And as for Keir Starmer having no coherent plan for social mobility, in my view, Keir Starmer hasn't got a coherent plan for anything. All he does is bounce from one side to the other, float in the wind, whichever way the wind's blowing, tries to appease people in that lobby group and that lobby group. He hasn't got any coherent policy except to try and keep himself in number 10 Downing Street as long as possible. Right. He's an international human rights lawyer who hasn't got a clue how to run a country.
Well, actually, Britain is being I mean, we were in real dire problems, and we are getting better. And
we're not getting better. We are not.
We are getting better. And one
by
of the
what metric do you think we're getting better?
Well, I mean, you know, we're slowly getting growth. The interest rates are slowly coming down from what they used to be.
Growth is zero.
But actually, what matters is what's being done. And I mean, I was being shouted at last night by, you know, what really, really matters is what we do, again, with the young. So, look, we've got nurseries which are expanding. We've got breakfast clubs, which means that kids can go to school having eaten, which is really good, which means mums can go to work. I mean, an awful lot of work is being done for the young, and that's where it really, really matters.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 months extra for free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
This joined-up thinking, I mean, the biggest key to social mobility is working. and education and working. So how do you incentivise people to work if you are just adding to benefits? You're lifting the two-child benefit cap.
Well, no, hold on. The two-child benefit cap has nothing to do with working. The two-child benefit cap, it doesn't. I mean, you're not going to not work to try and get child benefit. The two-child benefit cap is about saying that if you have a third child, that you don't go, well, that's a third child, we're not going to do anything. It's not about working, actually. It's about child poverty. I mean, all the organisations said the best way to lift, 500,000 children out of child poverty is to release the benefit cap. You need to do other things as well. You need to have proper staff for the under fives, because that's when everything matters. When we had Sure Start in the last Labour government, we actually, not only made children's opportunities better, we kept children out of hospital, we kept them out of jail.
Your social mobility, the NEETs that you mentioned earlier in this segment, there is 1 million of them. Yeah. There's 1 million NEETs, and the reason why we're in catastrophic chaos is that some of these people will never work. They'll go on to benefit to the age of 18, and they'll still be on benefits when they're 65. What kind of a country is that's getting better?
Well, that has been going on for 14 years, right? And what I'm saying is that actually this government is trying to do things about it,
and
they're promising that no young person will be unemployed for more than 18 months, and they're trying...
inventing a false job. It doesn't add to the economy, it doesn't add to growth.
Mike,
the government, once again, using welfare benefits to try and pretend there are jobs there aren't.
No, it's really... It's about work placement, it's not about inventing jobs. And when Tony Blair got in, we had the New Deal. We had the New Deal for the young, the New Deal for single mothers, New Deal for older people, and you got people into work. And one of the things that you have to do is you have to get these young people and you have to get them ready for work, and it takes a lot of effort.
Here's good work, Mike. I want to talk about this. We're at this time of the year whereby records are played on the radio and whatever, and the people that wrote them get royalties. Now,
Utterly fantastic.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
Utterly fantastic.
Roy Wood from Wizard, he wrote that in 1973,
That's right.
of 1973.
Yeah.
And how much does he make?
Nearly £500,000.
Yeah.
The song itself makes about 444,000 in a year, but most of that comes at
just from playing,
at
just
Christmas.
from rights.
Now, I was delighted to read this story because for years we've always been told that Noddy Holder and Slade brought in £500,000 every year with, Happy Christmas, everybody, and that's the most famous Christmas song ever. But it seems to be
they're all doing okay, aren't they?
They're all doing okay. And the Daily Mail today have got a list of the 10 great Christmas songs.
So 55% of the income of Merry Christmas, everybody, comes from repeats. So it's at number 6, and Roy Wood's at number 1.
Absolutely, but also, all they have to do in about October is get somebody like Asda or some supermarket chain come and say, can we use your song in our Christmas advert, please? You sign a bit of paper, and in January a cheque for £500,000 arrives.
All you need is one song.
We should all get together with a banjo.
We need to put our heads together.
Get together with a banjo, write a song.
Do you remember the Hugh Grant film, which was it's called About a Boy, and he got his money because his dad did a Christmas song, and he was still living on it. And obviously that's what you can do if you're Wizard.
And the other guy who makes an enormous amount of money, nobody's ever heard of him, is the guy who wrote the Cavalry song. The Christmas Cavalry song.
Jonah Louis.
Stop
the Cavalry. 90% of the income of that song is repeats.
That's right.
I can't even think. How does that song go?
Eamon, you and I.
That's a good one.
You and I might be old enough to remember. The guy who wrote that only ever wrote one other song, and it was called "We're Always in the Kitchens at Parties."